12th of August, 1984. Sarah White lay on top of the psychiatrist's chase lounge as the psychiatrist, Peter King, sat beside her on his black leather office chair. Sarah White looked around the inside of the room from where she was lying from. The ceiling was painted in white. A turned-off light bulb hung from the ceiling with a dark green lampshade around it. The walls in the room were covered in red maroon wallpaper, and just in front of her there was a closed window, revealing the busy streets of Liverpool outside. It was raining heavily that day. Raindrops were causing loud splashes against the window. The room she was inside of was rather small, with a wooden door behind Peter King. The carpet in the room was patterned in beige and brown polka dots, and the psychiatrist's desk stood nearby behind him with a computer on top of it, next to a bunch of files. So, Sarah, tell me more about the man with the blackened eyes. Peter King smiled patronisingly at Sarah White. Sarah was just 6 years old at the time, wearing a plain, bright green sweater and a pink tracksuit. Her hair was curly, and it was dark. It contrasted nicely against her pale, white skin. Peter King, however, was a middle-aged man, with blonde hair that was greying at the sides. He wore a dark green stripy suit that always made Sarah giggle for some reason. His smile was wide, and the wrinkles would appear around the corners of his mouth every time he smiled. He comes at night, mostly, Sarah White answered. Every time I try to go to sleep at night, he'll show. Mummy says that I'm just imagining these things, that I've been watching too many scary movies, but I don't watch naughty things like that, Sarah whimpered. Peter King sighed silently in his head, but managed to hide it through his forced smile. Another kid with a wild imagination. This is going to be a pain, Peter King thought to himself. Well, sometimes we all fear the dark, sweetie. I've watched plenty of scary movies, and we all imagine strange monsters before bedtime. But what you've got to remember is that none of these monsters are really there, Sarah. All you have to do is shout, "Stay away!" and they will go home and leave you alone. Peter King's smile widened. But Peter's attempt at comforting Sarah fell flat, as her face turned into a look of frustration. I tried that, Pete, but the black-eyed man, he hurt me, Sarah cried. She pulled up the right sleeve of her green sweater, revealing several large scars on her small, delicate forearm. Peter was shocked. His wide, comforting smile slumped down into a frown of concern. He thought Sarah was a victim of abuse. Sarah, tell me now, who did this to you? Peter's patronising tone disappeared, and now he was speaking to her more like a detective rather than a children's psychiatrist. I told you, Pete. It was the man with the black eyes. Sarah's cries grew louder. Peter was about to approach her to give the little girl some comfort, but before he could do so, something strange caught his attention. Peter King heard a scratching sound coming from the window to his right. He looked over to the window and saw nothing, but scratch marks were beginning to form on the outside of the window. "He's watching us from outside," Sarah pointed at the window, but Peter could not see anyone standing outside. But then a loud thud hit the window, cracking it slightly. Peter jumped in his seat in shock. "Make him stop! Make him stop!" Sarah began to shake her head violently. Her long dark hair shook around as she did so. Peter was dumbfounded. In all of his years of being a psychiatrist, he had never witnessed something so bizarre. So he just sat there, too afraid to scream, too afraid to move. Eventually the window smashed open violently, and the once ambient sounds of street life and heavy rain now exploded into the room with a loud gust of wind. Sarah then sat up straight on the chase lounge and screamed, "Stay away!" And soon enough, the chaos subdued. The wind settled, and now Peter and Sarah were left alone in the small, empty room. "I guess your advice was right, Pete," Sarah smiled through her tears. Peter King, still shaking and covered in sweat, turned around in his chair to face her. He looked at her, then chuckled nervously. Shortly after, Peter King led Sarah White outside of the room and into the building's hallway. Her father, Cody White, was sitting on a chair next to other clients outside the psychiatrist's office. The wallpaper outside of Peter King's office was olive in colour, and there was a long row of other doors leading into different office rooms along the endless looking hallway. Cody stood up abruptly with a look of shock on his face. "What happened, Peter?" he asked Peter King. Sarah White bowed her head down and walked over to her father. She wrapped her small arms around his legs as she stood. Cody looked down and stroked his daughter's hair as Peter King began to speak. "Your daughter. I can't help her," Peter King sighed. "What do you mean, you can't help her?" Cody growled. The other clients sitting behind Cody gave Cody a weird look, but he didn't care to notice. "What your daughter has is something I have never seen before. She is mentally sound, but something else is haunting her," Peter King explained. "What? What's haunting her?" Cody asked. "See for yourself," Peter King said as he opened the door to his office behind him. Once Cody, Sarah and Peter were inside, Cody's jaw dropped as he seen the smashed window inside that office room. Peter frowned once he saw Cody's reaction. "As I was explaining to your daughter here, that her monster does not exist. Something strange happened. She told me the black-eyed man was there." Peter then pointed at the broken window. "She said he was trying to get in from the outside. Now, I have never been a believer of the supernatural, Mr. White, but after what I have witnessed today, I now know that something sinister is watching your daughter." "Fuck off," Cody sweared. His daughter cried as he shouted. He instantly regretted it, but he couldn't help it. This was the third time a psychiatrist had said something supernatural was haunting his daughter, and now he finally lost his patience and snapped. "Look what you've made me do. Your idiotic claims have disturbed my daughter. I thought psychiatrists were supposed to help the mentally ill, not harm them," Cody yelled. "I'm sorry, Mr. White, but your daughter seriously needs to see a priest or something." Peter King tried to persuade him, but Cody refused to see the truth. "No, I won't let you poison my daughter's mind anymore. Come on, sweetie, we're leaving," Cody snarled as he snatched his daughter's hand and pulled her along with him, as he stormed off towards the exit, with her struggling to keep up behind.